Hey guys, today I wanted to explore some exercises from this amazing resource book that I use a lot as a therapist, Somatic Psychotherapy Toolbox by Manuela Mishke Reeds. And there's a lot of awesome exercises in this book, but a lot of our healing journey is using somatics, right? So even through brain retraining or any of these tools that we're using, we need to be aware of where our body stores emotions. So if you wanted to take a moment today, it's going to be experiential as well as some education. So we're going to learn how to ground through our body. And grounding is a tool that we use as a resource for ourselves to find a place of calm and strength. So first we're going to take a moment, and we can be sitting, lying down, whatever feels comfortable. And we're going to take a moment and ground through our body. So we could even be standing and moving around if that feels more available to us. So first we're going to start with a check-in. So we close our eyes, and let's take some really deep breaths. Now, not all of this is directly from our book. It's also just from resources of working as a therapist and yoga therapist, but I'm going to take some cues from our book as well. So we're going to start with a breathing exercise, just nice, gentle breaths. And so at first, let's just check in and see where our breath falls naturally today. We might want to place a hand on our chest and one on our belly. Notice where our breath falls in the course of a regular day. For some of us, we might notice that we're already taking belly breaths. But for others, especially if we live in a state of heightened anxiety, we may feel that our breath tends to be shallow chest breaths. So we might only feel that hand on our chest rising and falling, not the one on our bellies. So now let's take a moment and shift our breath. Let's begin to feel, when we inhale, the hand on our belly beginning to rise, and then lengthening and extending up through our spine as our hand on our chest rises with our breath, feeling our breath extend all the way up through the crown of our head. And then with our exhale, we feel our chest fall and our belly going back down to our spine. Take a few moments here and just find that breath and noticing the differences between a belly breath and our chest breath. While we're doing this, let's notice and just do a check-in. What emotions are we feeling right now? Are we perhaps tired, sad, irritated, dissociated, disconnected? Do we feel triggered or do we feel calm? Do we feel sensory overload? Do we feel that we're in our body or out of our body? And it's okay on our next breath to say it's okay, that it's a rough day, this will pass, and right now I need to come back to my body. Again, a nice deep breath here. And then let's take whatever posture, again, that we feel comfortable in. And since we've named our current feeling or body sense, take a breath just to acknowledge that's where we are, and that's okay. Just tune our intention to the inside of ourselves. Our eyes can be open or closed. And let's scan what our body feels right now. If we have identified an emotion or feeling, let's see if we can find that place in our body that we feel that sense. Don't overthink it, just feel where that feeling comes up, and then let's place a hand on that area. Take a deep breath in and out, and melt that experience of agitation or discomfort in that area that we identified. Let's feel our feet on the ground. So if you're laying down, you can bend your knees to place your feet on the ground. And gently push into your feet, as if we're doing a slow walk, maybe back and forth. And imagine pushing the floor away beneath you. There's a little bit of effort here. Now imagine that those feet are planted barefoot in the grass or on the ground or the sand. And keep walking, pulsing back and forth, pushing and exhaling actively. Now we can stay here for 2 or 3 minutes, maybe remembering to close our eyes, push our feet in the ground, alternate back and forth, or just push both at the same time. Concentrating on our breath, whatever area of our body feels the most discomfort, breathing into that spot. Take as long as you need. You could even pause the video if you need more time. Now notice. Pause and notice our body. Sense and see the ground underneath you. and tuning in that there really is support for us, that we can ground at any moment. And then noticing, is there a change? How is your body feeling? Maybe filling in the blanks here. I feel blank right now. I feel this in my body. I am letting go of, and I am grounding into. And another exercise from this toolkit that I wanted to touch on a little, if you're struggling with this exercise, it ties really well into the tool of asking the right questions. So very often, especially with chronic pain or chronic illness or trauma, we become very rational thinkers. It's more black and white thinking. We get out of our bodies, so we struggle to identify what emotions really feel like and where they actually occur in our body. So we need to get into the habit of asking deeper questions to ourselves to facilitate deeper awareness. We also fall into the trap sometimes of people pleasing, and if we're asking ourselves a certain question, our therapist asking us a question, or we're journaling, we write down what we think is the right answer or response rather than where are we really feeling this. So some awesome tools that we can have are, instead of asking, are you sad, where an answer might be yes or no, and it's all up here cerebral, saying, what kind of sadness am I feeling? So if I have to feel, sense, go into my body and find it out, now I'm connecting inward to a felt sense of the emotion. So some sample questions I love to use are, what kind of sadness, anger, fear, frustration is here? So again, when we are placing our hand on that side of our body where we feel that emotion, what kind? What's the quality of that emotion? And then taking some time to answer that. How deep does that tension go? So is that surface level? Do I feel like, oh, I got this pain in my shoulder because I was like clenching when I was driving because I was upset? Or does it feel like a deep ache, a deep longing? Is it an emotional connection, or are we physically manifesting this trauma? Is there a texture that goes with that? So some ideas, or is there something familiar about this? So is there emptiness, fatigue, tiredness, constriction, tingling, intensity, weariness? Is there an image that goes with that emotion? If this emotion was a color, what would it be? What sound would it make? What is on the other side of it? What is happening in the rest of your body right now? How comfortable or uncomfortable is this? So we're going to do another exercise really briefly here, just guiding ourselves into the body. So the formula we're going to use is helping us to stay with an emotion. So tuning into our present experience, again, taking our breath, closing our eyes, tuning into an emotion and where in our body we feel that the most. Now we're going to try to stay with that and explore it, notice it, and reflect on it. So get curious about what's coming up in that area right now. Allow yourself to turn toward that experience or that emotion. You can even say it out loud. What happens inside when you name it? How do you experience it in your body? Let's go ahead and stay with it and just notice the experience right now and stay with that. See where it takes you. See what that emotion is trying to tell you. See what it knows. Notice, tune in, explore, and reflect. Now stay with that change. If anything came up, stay there. Just notice anything that's coming in. What else do you notice? Anything new in your body, in your overall experience? What else? Let's work on listening to our body. And maybe as a takeaway today, taking some time to journal what came up for us, what we learned, and why we want to listen to our body. What do we want to notice? What do we want to bring with us and learn? If we initially see some of those emotions as negative or something we want to push away, now that we felt into them, what have we learned? And is there anything that came up for us that that emotion told us or taught us that it has an innate wisdom that we need to tap into? Maybe taking a few moments and journaling about that, and just noticing how that attains to your life today, what we can learn from that, where we can grow. Again, I hope you have an amazing day. I really love this book. I think anyone who is interested in using somatic resourcing, somatic therapy, could really get a lot out of this. And it's a lot of stuff you can talk yourself through, even though it is written for the perspective of a clinician. But I hope that you all have a wonderful day full of healing, and I will check in again soon.